Mm-hmm. Woo Pig from Fort Smith. What's going on, Alex? How you doing, buddy? Gonna let people pile in here. Hunter Draper, I don't know what your comment was, but it was restricted. I'm sorry. Woo Pig from Houston. Sean Crane, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. We've got Fort Smith up in the house, Houston. Welcome, guys. I'm trying to make sure I got what notes I have available. I'm ready to go. Good afternoon, brother. Sorry. Yeah, so YouTube comment, the way they, I don't know, the way they manage their comment section now is very bizarre. I've talked about this before. Jake, the coach in Fayetteville. I don't know what the coach in Fayetteville. I'm not really sure. You're going to have to fill me in, Rodney. I don't know what you're talking about. Welcome, guys. Typically what I do is I wait about 4 or 5 minutes to let people pile in because I hate repeating myself. It's tough to do a live stream as a small YouTuber. Oh, that's your nickname. Oh, my bad. The coach. What do you coach? Where do you what you coach? Like Kiwanis football or middle school or high school? Fill us in, Rodney. We're all ears, buddy, and eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the spiel really quick. You know the typical intro that I do. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day. Remember to like, comment, share the content. That means copying the URL up above and pasting it somewhere and letting people know, hey, he's live. It's that guy from the Hog Talk podcast and the YouTube channel, the Pig Trail Network. It goes without saying, and I complain about it a lot, and I really shouldn't, but my week has been absolutely insane. And to think, school starts next week for my kids. Woo, yay. Hopefully that'll free me up a little bit to get some more content done. It's Friday. That's why I'm wearing the pink flamingo shirt. Those of you who are regulars here, you know all about the pink flamingo shirt. Greg says, an NCAA simulation predicted we would go 8-4, losing to Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss, and A&M. Yeah, I've done my own. It's probably the NCAA football sim, I'm sure, is what you're referring to. I'll tell you a story on that in just a minute. Rodney says, I'm new to Fayetteville area. I was coaching baseball in Little Rock at Hall High. Well, welcome, sir. We, as you know, baseball's pretty big up here. It is down there too, I know, but it's pretty big up here. So again, we're going to wait a couple more minutes and we'll get this thing rocking and rolling. I hope you guys have had a fabulous week. I really should just start scheduling these every Friday is what I should do. But again, my days are so unpredictable. Timothy, is that Wazant? Or Wysant? Wysant. What whispers? How do you pronounce that W and H? Is it like whipped cream? So Wysant, or is it Wysant? That's a fascinating last name. Welcome, sir, all the way from California. Wisnant. Okay, Timothy Wisnant. Very cool. Welcome. So again, like I said, feel free to slap a like. I guess for you guys it's down there. Slap a like down below. And again, I want to know I'm curious how your week was. Mine, again, just crazy busy. We had my nephew and niece stayed the night. So I've got 2 girls, one 4 who'll be 5 in October. Then my oldest just turned 7 in June. She's going into the 2nd grade here in Springdale. And so they had their cousins on who are older. And that was just, we don't live in a big house, so it was a little crazy. Got to swim in our amazing above-ground pool. Okay, we're getting there. 30 more seconds, and we'll get this thing going. Living the dream. Last day of vacation, says Alex. So how excited is everybody, for the weekend and football season? Woo, I'm just so giddy. I love this time of year. I really wish I could just set aside more time to get more content out. And that's why I do. And this is crazy. It's easier for me to do a 30 or 45 minute video than to actually sit down and try to do like an edited video, right? With the intro and the outro and cutting, doing all these jump cuts and things. It's easier to do this than it is to do that. Isn't that crazy? I'm a perfectionist. I'm not going to lie. When I do a take, like when you guys see my intro, yo, welcome to the Hog Talk, or no, wrong podcast, wrong show. welcome to the Big Trail Network. When I do that whole intro, if I don't like it, I'll start over and I'll delete. I'm just bad about it. And so it's easier for me to sit here and do live than it is to do just an actual video. But I like doing the videos because I like the editing portion of it. There's things there that I can do that I can't do here. Now I could use OBS, which is it's broadcasting software, and I need to get back into that. So, all right, we're going to get this thing rolling. Let me get caught up on comments here. Timothy says, I think BH gets the nod week 1. I guess you're Ben Hicks. And then Nick Starkel the rest of the season. I think that's a lot of people. I think that's the assumption for a lot of people. And it's a good take. It is. That's where I'm at. I'm still there, but I'm wondering if someone doesn't kind of break the party up. I think Nick Starkel will bright spark when he comes onto the field. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how much of the offense that is installed with him. Remember, that was a problem that we had last year. Both Ty Story, obviously, Ty Story and Cole Kelly had limitations. You know, their ceilings were really low. Their talent level in trying to understand this system that they were not recruited for, it was just a disaster last year. But a big part of the problem also was they couldn't install even half the playbook. Half the offense. That's a problem. What's up, Blake? How you doing? He says, Ty, what's up, bro? I'm doing well, Blake. I really do appreciate you stopping by as usual. And so, all right, now that we're going, we're 7 minutes in. I'm going to tell you guys, if you haven't seen the announcements, if you don't already follow us on the Hog Talk podcast or around social media, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. Our engagements are incredible. I know you guys can't see our engagements, but we're averaging right now, we're on pace to average over 100,000, right around 100,000 engagements a month. That's incredible. You only see the likes in the comments, but on our end, we can also see, like, there's analytics. We can see the engagements. It's been incredible over on the Hog Talk. It's Hog Talk podcast, and on Facebook, it's Arkansas Hog Talk. But myself and Jacob, we run all the social media stuff, and then we brought on a new producer, Pack, who's been incredible. He's helping bring on guests. We've had incredible guests on. It's been amazing. Otis Kirk, Chandler Morris, Phil Elson, voice of Baseball Hogs, voice of the baseball program, was on our show last week, and it's kind of hard to get him to. He's with his kids this summer, and we didn't want to take away too much of his time, but he actually went on longer on that podcast than I thought he would. We really were only pegged for like 10 to 15 minutes. I think we ended up with him like 25 minutes on the show. It was really cool. So if you guys. Again, I try to bring them up as much as possible because that's a big part of what I do now over at the Hog Talk podcast. Our shows, we record on Sunday evenings. We take your questions. We do polls. We have a poll up right now. It's about the lacking or not playing in Little Rock, which is something, too, we'll bring up here in just a minute, about the games not being in Little Rock next year for 2020. We wanted to gauge your interest here and your thoughts. I thought about running a poll on that yesterday, but I just didn't have – it left my mind, really. But anyways, yeah, we had Phil Elson on, and he talked quite a bit. It was a great show. We've had, again, Chandler Morris. We had Drew Morgan on, Ball of Energy, that one. If you haven't listened to that podcast, it was absolutely incredible. He's a funny dude, and he definitely, when you hear him speak, and he's pretty articulate, and he's really fast paced, and he sounds exactly what we saw on the field. Drew Morgan. Just a guy, high energy. He has high expectations of his teammates, I think, too. I kind of got that vibe as someone who really is on his teammates about being better. Some of the stuff that he said before and after we were recording. He's a good kid. He's a good kid, man. So hopefully we bring him back on. But, yeah, we record on Sunday nights. We'll answer polls and things like that, and the podcast will go live typically on Mondays. So if you haven't already, go check that out. But again, that poll was on the Little Rock, not playing games in Little Rock. So with that being said, I want to gauge your interest. That's going to be the first thing we talk about. How do you guys feel really quick? And then we'll get into the fall stuff. What's going on in the camp? How do you guys feel about that? What are your thoughts and opinions on there not being a game? Now, those of us who've been paying attention, we knew this was going to happen because they don't play Mizzou next year. Instead, you're going to have the spring game in War Memorial next year, which I'm sure will draw interest from people down in Little Rock. But again, that's not going to make people down there happy. If you're down in Central Arkansas, let's say you don't really care whether or not where they play at. I don't care where your opinion is on where they should play games. Will a spring game keep you satisfied and happy? Like, I don't think if I lived in Central Arkansas or down in the South, the southern part of the state, I don't know that's like feeding breadcrumbs, right? Look, I think I've stated it before, and I'll state it here officially. I am all for keeping the games in Fayetteville. I am. I have family down in Little Rock. I love visiting family. I love going down there and seeing people. And I know this will affect people across the state, but how many schools play at two different locations? How many schools really do that in their own state just to keep one part of the state happy? That's asinine. We already know they lose money, not just Fayetteville. I'm not talking about Fayetteville. The football program does. You can't bring on recruits. You can't bring them down for official visits. Now, they can visit on their own, but they can't come down there for official visits. It's such a disadvantage. You've already got a neutral site game with Texas A&M. So you've already got that one every other year out of the state. Why do more, or out of Fayetteville, I should say, why do more to take games away from Fayetteville, from the university? And I know that's not, especially with people down in Central Arkansas and South Arkansas, it's not a real popular opinion to have. I guess I've been called a stuck-up Northwest Arkansas person, and I'm not. I love the state of Arkansas. I don't think, and I really just think at the end of the day, it's I'm not gonna say it's a pointless conversation to have, because anytime it's you have these many things stacked up against you already, why add more to it, right? Now, if you could bring visits down there, official visits, and it didn't cost the university as much money to travel and to pay for all that stuff, I probably wouldn't really care. But that's what happens when you travel. Greg says, thinking about going to the Ole Miss game. Does anyone know how annoying the Rebel fans are? I've seen Arkansas play Ole Miss a few times. I've never actually been on the road. Their fans, when they come here, are nice. It doesn't matter to me, Timothy says. I have to fly 1,500 miles to see any Razorback game. I usually go to Dallas because no matter the weather, it will be great. Unfortunately, we lose there all the time. Sure do. Jeremiah is responding to your Ole Miss question. He says Ole Miss fans are probably going to be quite sober after losing to Memphis week one. I don't know. Maybe they're going to be more. I'd be drunk. I'd probably be hammered. Tony says, I'm in Central Arkansas, but don't care. The game day experience is so much better in Fayetteville. Now, I have been to Little Rock when Arkansas's rocking. When was the last time I was down there? I can't even remember. Was it Petrino's last year? I can't even remember now. And I think it was the year before his last year, and I think it was Mississippi State, maybe. I don't know. I think we'd been drinking before that game. Whoops! But the atmosphere and the environment was incredible. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to downgrade Little Rock. Lately, yeah, it's been bad, but it's also been bad in Fayetteville because the product on the field has been terrible. I think that slinging that back and forth is just a mute argument, because they're a bad football program right now. Nobody's going to games. And I think the game they played last in Little Rock, it was wet, rainy, crappy, and Arkansas was bad. You know, it's hard to bring people to a game with all those different elements, with all the issues there. So I guess at the end of the day, I think you got 7 games in Fayetteville next year. I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that. I think they should be played all in Fayetteville anyways. Now, as far as the Texas A&M game, playing them down there, I'm a pretty strong advocate for playing where you recruiting where you play. I don't know that I like taking that game out of Texas necessarily. If you can manage to bring 5 games a year to Fayetteville, I don't really care. As long as you have enough games. But what was it this year? 3? Was it, or 3 conference games? I can't even remember. I don't have the calendar or the schedule in front of me, but that's bad. That's not good. That's terrible. That's a huge disadvantage for the university in so many different ways. So, yeah, I think when you stack up all the disadvantages the University of Arkansas already has, I don't understand. I don't understand wanting to knock down some of those barriers, right? Knocking down these challenges. That's just me. At least you weren't here for the Louisiana Monroe disaster. Oh, my God. Watching it on TV wasn't much better. But I couldn't imagine being at that game. That would have been pretty tough. Let's see. Hate it. We're going to miss out on the Little Rock game, but maybe we can do better at Fayetteville. I don't know. I wonder. We haven't seen that stadium to capacity with that new end zone. I wonder what it sounds like now, full capacity. I don't know that we're going to find that out this year or not, but what does it hold now? 78,000, 79, 78,000 people now. So now that you have that barricade, or you've now got something there, I wonder how that affects the sound and the environment. I wonder if they're going to keep doing fireworks. They started that. Jeff Long and Bobby Petrino. It was Petrino's second year, I think, and they started doing fireworks. And I remember that took me by surprise. I was at the game, and it was. I remember the first time they did it, and I jumped. Me and my dad, I think, went to that game, and I jumped out of my underwear, streaking across the field. Okay, that didn't happen, but let's see. Fayetteville sells only the box seats and suites. The profit more than Little Rock could sell out, and I'm from Little Rock. Okay, Jeremiah's saying he's okay with it. I think the stadium debate is a generational thing. He'd be surprised. Yeah, it's an NWA versus Central Arkansas argument. When I talk to most people up here, ironically, a lot of people are up here. As long as you stay in the Springdale, Lowell, and then you go to Farmington, Greenland, Goshen, those are typically where your true Northwest Arkansas, like people that were probably born here, or Madison County, people that were born here don't care. But then you get people, kind of the transplants, when you go to Walmart, around JB Hunt, Tyson Chicken, where you have a lot of people. Of course, they're based out of Springdale, but you know what I mean. When you get those transplants, the kind of upper class people, and there's nothing wrong with that. Tradition is a huge part of college football. I'm not. When people say that it's tradition here, I don't argue with them because it is. But it's just such a disadvantage. This isn't 1982 anymore. It's 2019. God, I sound like Justin Trudeau when I said that. I'm sorry. That was very. I apologize. It's 2015. That's why. Ugh. Okay. I was at the ULM game, says Mo. Mo, how you doing, buddy? Hope all's well. Greg, they added 4,000 seats. Yeah, I think he's talking about the north end zone. That was the beginning of the end. Let's see. Somber tie. The first game I went to was in Little Rock with my son. Let's see. Last with my dad was in Little Rock. First with my wife was in Little Rock. I have all the sentimental reasons to keep in Little Rock. Regardless, keep in Fayetteville. That's Darren Deloach. I'm sorry. Wish I could blow up the comment section. If we have 6 or 7 wins towards the end of the season, will it sell out? Well, so who's that final game? Who is it? I don't know. I need to pull that schedule up. I had it right here. I had the schedule. I'll pull that up here in just a second. See, take a look. Take a look-see. We'll just take a look-see. So your last game at home is November 30th, right? That can't be right. Okay, what am I looking at here? Okay, so you start off with Portland State, at Ole Miss, Colorado State, San Jose State, Texas A&M, and Arlington. We all know that one. At Kentucky, Auburn, at Alabama, Mississippi State, Western Kentucky, at LSU on November 23rd, then Mizzou, November 30th. So those are your final games. Mizzou is the final game. I just didn't realize it was November 30th. Yeah, that actually makes sense. Okay, so that's your final game in Little Rock until 2021. So, well, and I guess if you count the spring game. Okay, I'm having a brain fart there, but that's all right. Yeah, so I don't know. So your last game in Fayetteville is Western Kentucky, right? And at that point, what's your record? Western Kentucky, by the way, they've won not a whole lot of games. I think they have a new coach, new quarterback. Could be who, Ty Story. They went 3-9 last year, and they're not expected to they don't have a lot of starters coming back, and regardless, it's a new system. I don't really know what they do November 9th. But at that point, you're coming off of playing at Alabama on October 26th, then Mississippi State. Could be back-to-back wins or back-to-back losses. Definitely not wins. That could be back-to-back losses. I don't know that you fill up the stadium there. I don't know. No, I'm going to say no, you don't. But if you're saying if they win 6 games, so that means they'd have to obviously split Alabama and Mississippi State. We know they're not going to beat Bama. I really don't know. I wonder too. What if they're 5 wins and that 6th win kind of hangs in the balance? And you have a shot, and you got a shot to actually see Arkansas show out. I like those games. I like those games where you play a nobody. I like going to all games, but I like seeing those games where you could sit wherever you want, and that's a lot here lately at home. We've carried on like 10 minutes about the stadium debate. I didn't mean for it to go this long. I'm sorry, but I like those games where you can kind of sit wherever you want and watch the game wherever you want. And they could be the funnest because you go in expecting, at least you used to, you'd go in expecting beating that team. We're going to move on, though. At the end of the day, I'm for playing all the games in Fayetteville. That's where I'm at. Only 2 home conference games this season. Fayetteville has so many more advantages for the team. I personally love the A&M games in Dallas. I do, too. I hear everyone that goes to those games have a blast. I hear that with everybody that goes down there. Although I spend a lot on alcohol because the games there are stressful. Yeah, they are. And I'm sure the alcohol there is really, really, really expensive there. When is the first game? I hope we win this year. Well, it's Portland State. That's August 31st. First game. Portland State, you assume they win that one, right? And then let's see. Tony Brown says, have they announced the full 2020 football schedule yet? Yes, they have. I actually posted it 2 days ago, I think, on YouTube. You can go check it out. I thought about bringing that up here, but I already posted it. It's already everywhere. It's an interesting schedule because you go you start off – well, we'll go over here in a minute. It's pretty crazy how early they play Mississippi State, and you got Notre Dame kind of right out the gate there. We are going to win all the games this year. All right, you're clowning. You're a clown. You're clowning around, aren't you, Heather? Are you clowning on me? Are you trolling? No, they definitely don't win all the games this year. I'm going to say that with about 99% confidence, 100% confidence. Love the Dallas game, says Timothy. Jeremiah, there's a great sports clip. Oh, yeah, you're making fun of the hair. Well, you know what, Jeremiah? You sound like my wife. I'll just say that. Can't beat playing in Jerry's world. No, I ain't. Trust me. I have faith. I don't know. I don't think they win all games. All right, moving on. We're going to get into the fall camp. We are at we're way beyond where we should have been. A little bit behind. The camp so far, I got a list of some guys that have been showing out a little bit. Freshmen are doing pretty good. I don't know if you noticed. There's University of Arkansas has been releasing these little clips, and there's this really cool clip of Treylon Burks reaching around to make a pass. I know people instantly, as soon as we posted that on the Hawk Talk podcast across social media, everybody's like, oh, he would have gotten his clock cleaned. Well, no kidding. It's a passing drill. I think he's aware of that. And not only that, it depends. If he's wide open, there's no one there to hit him. Maybe he, turns around and makes a big play. But that's besides the point. The effort to make that catch was incredible. Treylon Burks kid's an athlete. When you're 6 foot, 6'3.5", 6'4", 230, 225, and you're that athletic, boy, those only come around so often, and I'm not sitting there saying he's like he's a Darren McFadden, Peyton Hillis type, or a Matt Jones type of player, that caliber of player coming out of the state, but he could be. It makes you wonder too with how thick they are at wide receiver. Could you imagine him lining up at linebacker, considering how thin they are there? He was a good linebacker. We've talked. Jacob and I have talked to people around the state about that and about watching him play at that position at linebacker, and they say he's outstanding. He'd be good at any position you put him at. But I think he belongs at wide receiver. I think that goes without saying. But Treylon Burks has stood out. Montiel Soli has stood out. Jalen Catalon was bragged on a little bit. It's good to hear that the freshmen are standing out. That's what's good to hear. We didn't really hear this last year. Something else we didn't really hear, and we haven't heard it yet. It's about the installation of the offense. I'm wondering how far along they are there. Are they able to actually install the offense with whoever's at quarterback? And I'm assuming if it's Ben Hicks. This is why having Ben Hicks is such an advantage. And even though I still believe that Nick Starkel ends up taking the job, it may be harder than we think to dethrone him. Now, if he goes out, You expect him to look really good against Portland State. You expect him to probably come out with a little bit of rust. He might struggle a little bit early on. But if they leave him in long enough, I could totally see this offense maybe getting into rhythm, gelling, and then him looking good. It's going to be really hard if they turn around the next week, go on the road against Ole Miss, and they lose still, but they still look good, and it's not because of the offense. It's not because Ben Hicks throws 4 picks, 3 picks, whatever. It's not because of Ben Hicks. Then I wonder, from that point on, what happens. If Ben Hicks looks good on the road against Ole Miss, what are the odds he keeps his job throughout the rest of the year? I think we either talked about that on the Hawk Talk podcast or possibly we said that last time we were here live. I can't remember. Again, for those of you who've joined us, thank you so much for stopping by. But I wonder where we're at halfway through the year at the quarterback position. Treylon Burks, I did a video. We kind of talked about that a little bit, about Treylon Burks turning heads. He's, Chad Morris has bragged on him, I think, a couple of times. I haven't really heard them come out. Again, I haven't heard them say anything about installing the offense with him. But if they start talking about installation, if they start talking about, well, there's a few set plays. We have KJ, and he fits the mold pretty well in those set offenses, those set plays. And we're installing offense with KJ, he may not get redshirted. If you start hearing that if you hear anyone, Craddock or Morris, talk about that. And they may not even, with how secretive they are, I doubt we're even going to even hear about them installing offense. But it's, again, the quarterback or the quarterbacks have all apparently looked pretty good. KJ stood out from time to time. Not, I guess, just comparatively as a freshman, he stood out. I don't know that they're saying that he's looked better than the other two, than Hicks or Starkle. Other guys that have stood out, Dorian Gerald was bragged about quite a bit, and this is not quite a bit, but he was talked about a little bit. People who, media and the people that we've talked to have said that, yeah, Dorian Gerald has had moments where you feel like he's going to do pretty good. Enoch Jackson went up against Miller in we used to call it, when I played football, it's called Bloody Alley. But you line up a couple of guys and one guy on the other side, and you see if he could split the double team, whatever. I saw that video, and they'd done some other stuff, and I heard there were some other drills that we didn't get to see. But apparently Enoch has looked pretty good doing those. Miller just strikes me as the type of guy, the fellow Burks' teammate, the kid out of Warren. He strikes me as someone who probably ends up getting redshirted, but who knows? But Montiel Soli is actually apparently on the heels of Gabe Richardson, who's projected to start. If that's not potential, I mean, again, a true freshman. And I said at the spring game, I said, man, he's out on the field a lot rotating with the 2s and 3s. He's rotating a lot for a freshman. We saw that with several freshmen. Montiel Soli is turning heads. He's been bragged on by a number of people, and now supposedly he's working with the 2s, and he may even rotate some out with the 1s. We'll see if this continues. The progression of fall camp is what matters. The progression, and like I said in my last video, which was Monday, if they can get on at all positions, if you get guys to start to separate themselves from the rest of the pack and they stay there consistently through the rest of, now that this week's over with, the first full week, which will be next week. And I guess I don't know if they're going to go full pads all next week or not. I don't know what their plans are there. But if they can hold their spots now from Monday until the end of fall camp, I'm going to feel a lot better. Because last year we had this swinging gate. Now we had an injury at the right tackle spot. We're still, I don't have all the notes there about who's rotating. I hear there's two or three guys that may be rotating. And then there's also the belief that Myron Cunningham, could end up starting at the left tackle spot, which I don't think is a good thing. I mean, you got to start your best guy, right? If Colton Jackson doesn't fit, if you have to do that and you got to move him there, Myron there, who will have 2 years to play, by the way. Remember, he was a JUCO prospect. Had some good committable offers from other Power 5 schools. That means you're unable to free him up because he could play anywhere on the offensive line. Colton Jackson can't. He's left tackle or bust. So now you've got that going on. I just haven't heard anything good about Colton. Not anyone has said anything good about Colton so far, and I don't know if that's good or bad. Well, they haven't said anything, period. I'm not saying that there's been bad reported on Colton. But we have heard that the offensive line has struggled. We've seen clips online of the offensive line getting pressure and the quarterback being hurried or kind of flushed out of the pocket, and it's forcing the quarterbacks to kind of throw off balance. We're still early on in fall camp, but I am concerned if Myron has to play and start at left tackle. I'll say that. because now, and I don't think Luke Jones is going to get cleared. There was a rumor kind of floating around for like a minute that he might get cleared. I don't think that happens. The transfer from Notre Dame, who played in Little Rock out of high school, obviously he committed and signed and was with Notre Dame for a year. So the belief was that, he's going to come and he's going to get an opportunity. I don't think that happens. I just don't. If it did, even if it did, you would have to ask, does he get redshirted? Is he good enough to come in and play right out the gate, come in and start? I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but I think he is practicing, but they got him in a different color jersey. So I don't know. I'm not real excited that we're not hearing people brag about Colton at that left side, which would the next thing to happen would be to move then Myron Cunningham inside. And that kind of alleviates some of the pressure that they have. Because Myron Cunningham is going to he might have the first year woes. I don't know, but I feel like he's someone who's going to come in and help immediately. So let me get caught up on chat really quick. Oh my, how big is the talent gap between Hicks and Starkel? Talent. This is from Tony Healy. I think Starkel, anytime you have a guy, now he was a 3-star, I think, out of high school, just like Hicks was. Obviously, he had, I think, some more offers. If I remember right, he was at one point committed to Oklahoma State. He had better offers. He went to a bigger school, and he started at a bigger school. He started at A&M, didn't have a great SEC record. But the advantage Hicks has is obviously he's worked with Chad Morris. He's had success. In terms of production on the field, he's had success with what he was able to do as a quarterback. Doesn't mean that SMU as a team was terrific, but at least he shined in that offense. I think one year he threw for like 3,000 plus yards, had a bunch of touchdowns, looked really good. In other words, he operated the offense pretty well. I don't know if there's a huge gap, but I think there is one. 2020 schedule will be one of the toughest in the nation. It's going to be tough. What colors in the uniforms this year? Heather, they're going to be red on white. I don't know. I appreciate the question. They're going to be red on white. More than likely, they're going to try and stick with the Darren McFadden era jerseys. If you haven't seen those, you should check them out. They're really nice looking. Do you think Catalan will be a game one starter? Says Greg. He's showing out. Catalan is showing out. If he continues to trend this way, and we continue to hear what he's doing through fall camp, nothing but positives. If he doesn't have too many bad days, they're going to have a day at camp, maybe even more than one, which is entirely possible. Where the staff comes out and they're like, "That was a bleeping horrible effort today." That's going to happen. So if Catalan can avoid those, too many of those, it sounds like he's going to at least rotate. I don't know about start. We'll see. Matt says the defense seems to be dominating the O-line. That's scary. How bad is the O-line? We're going to find out. I still think it's kind of a swinging door up there. I'm just not satisfied with where they're at. And that makes you wonder how much stress, how much pressure is going to be on Coach Fry, the offensive line coach, if this doesn't get turned around this year. It's hard to put all the blame on him, but it is year 2. And you need to start seeing some improvement. We're not so far through this camp. We're not hearing a whole lot of great things. Sean Crane, and that was from Matt Beagle, by the way. Thanks, Matt, for the question. Sean Crane says, I can't wait to see the quarterback battle. Well, it's going on right now as we speak. It's just going to be a matter of what happens throughout the rest of the year, who can separate themselves. Also heard great things about Jefferson. Yep, if he sits and lean and it sits and learns, he's going to be a beast. Yeah, he's got to be patient, Sean. I agree. He's got to be patient. Absolutely. I personally think, this is from Timothy again, I personally think KJ has more talent on Hicks, but Hicks knows the system inside and out. I agree. Azazian, what's up, buddy? Azazian says receivers and secondary are going to show out this year. We'll see. I like Devin Bush. I like Jaquez McClellan too, but I like Devin Bush. I think the secondary is going to be improved. It's going to depend on whether or not, again, can freshmen break through the freshman ceiling. If they do that, could be an incredible year. It's been a while since the secondary has been great, hadn't it? Maybe since 2014. I also see Scuda being a second or third rounder next year. His size is the only thing that I worry about. He's going to have to show out. I mean, when you're on a program that's struggling, and I'm not going to give you my schedule again. I'm going to wait till a couple of weeks. But if they aren't successful on the field, it's going to work against him in more ways than you would think, which is unfortunate. But having said that, if he has enough good film, who knows? Anything could happen. Let's see. Is Kendall Catalan on scholarship? I'm assuming is Jalen Catalan on scholarship. Yes. Yeah. He's a 4-star, highly rated prospect. Arkansas got him, and that was a big get. His size is kind of something that worries some. He's 5'9", 5'10". I don't know his weight. I don't have his official weight. I think there's an update. I don't know about that. If you know, feel free to fill us in the comment section. I'm glad to see so much competition, Patrick. I could not agree more. Zazian says, oh, no, that was a comment I already skipped. I'm sorry. I'm going to actually use my mouse here. Not sure if it's simply rhetoric, but the coaches are way more positive in their dialogue with the press. I could not agree more. I was actually just talking about this with our producer and with Jacob Scott Davis, who is one of the hosts on our show. We were having this conversation about, is it rhetoric, is it coach speak, or is it legit? Are they trying to hide it? I think, from what I understand, they're trying to restrain themselves when they talk to the media, and you can see it. They're excited. He has confidence in his interviews. That was not a thing last year. That was not there last year. I agree. Put Meyer and Cunningham to left tackle, says Azazian. They may have to, and that's unfortunate because I really thought Colton got off to a slow start last year and struggled, but he had surgery. Remember, he had that offseason injury, and it slowed him down. I thought, well, maybe coming into this year, having a full offseason, maybe he'll finally separate himself. It hasn't happened. Chris Montrell, do you think we will play KJ in any games? Being that we can play him in 4 games and still redshirt. Yes, I do think KJ will see the field. I think he's too talented to keep off the field. I still feel like they're going to play him just enough to not burn his red shirt. But, I mean, if they install a package for him, I mean, the guy can take off. You heard what Sosa Agim said in an interview, and if you haven't, it's somewhere out there in the ether, but said that KJ wins all the time. That, like, there's just no battle when KJ sets loose. Now, against that was Sosa. He's an interior defensive lineman. You don't expect him to chase down someone like KJ, but it's still exciting to hear them like smile ear to ear when they talk about KJ. I'm telling you guys, and I think we all are aware of this. I'm not giving you any news, anything breaking, but he is a stud. And if he's patient, if he remains coachable, anything could happen. I'm not sitting here saying he's Heisman candidate Lamar Jackson, but he could take this offense to high places. I also want people to pump the expectations on him too. Again, these people telling me that he's got the legs of Darren McFadden and the arm of Ryan Mallett. Slow your roll, people. Slow down. I don't think he's that, but I think he's going to be, I think he's going to fit well in this system. So let it work itself out. Am I the only one who misses the chrome helmets? I don't mind the chrome helmets, Blake. I don't. I thought they looked good. Once a year doesn't hurt. Why not use them on the road at the A&M game? I don't mind that at all. Why aren't we hearing anything about the running backs? It seems the line is doing much better at blocking than pass blocking. Well, how do you know that, Matt? If you're not hearing anything about the running backs? No, I don't know. I don't know what I'm hearing about the offensive line. I'll say this: it's not a whole lot of positivity, and it's hard for running backs to do anything. It's hard for anybody to do anything when your offensive line's not clicking. Right? I think we can all agree with that. I don't know why we're not hearing more about the running backs. I know that right now, like it's fall camp. They don't want these guys to get hurt, right? I don't know how much you're going to actually see. I don't know how much you're going to take away from a fall camp or from or even a scrimmage, which they're going to do on Saturday. It's going to be closed, of course, but I don't know how you take it. It's like spring game, right? Like how much do you really take away from that? In terms of like the run, especially with running backs, because they're so strict on not making too much contact with the running backs. Obviously, you can't touch the quarterbacks. Let's see, Jeremiah, around SMU, the name was Pick Six Hicks. Well, that was some fans on social media, yeah. And that could be true. I think his ceiling is pretty low, but I think what he knows of the offense is the advantage. And like I said in the last video, is he a coach on the field or is he a coach on the sidelines? And is he okay with that? Did he really just transfer here to be a coach on the sidelines? I don't think so. I think he's going to try and compete. And I like that because I love nothing like competition. Competition pushes everybody. I think KJ will play, and this is from Timothy again. I think Timothy will play if we're blowing out a team. I think we'll see John Stephen Jones in the same situation. John Stephen Jones has thrown 3 of the 5 picks. Corey Chandler says Kendall is Jalen's brother, transfer wide receiver from. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. My bad. I've been so hyper focused on these incoming freshmen. Yeah, I don't know much about. I've not heard anything about him. I don't know what's going on there. My bad, Corey. I think the D-line is much better than last year. Kendall Callahan. Yeah, okay. I'm up to date. Thanks, Glenn. Transferred in. Chrome helmets are legit. Not the classics, but really cool. Chrome helmets are okay. So Matt likes the chrome, but they're not the classics. I love those classic helmets. I think the what do they call that? Like the gloss. I like the gloss. I don't like the matted, the kind of darker red that looks too. No, I don't like that. Not a fan. I'm so happy they're going away from those matted helmets. Those matted helmets are garbage. I don't care, and I've butted heads with some people over that. The matted helmets are garbage. Keep them away. Yeah, and I'm Jeremiah again. Kendall Callahan. We don't hear about running backs because they aren't going live. Well, they are to some extent, but they're not. They're not. The way they typically do it is you just can't. They don't want to make a whole lot of contact. They want to see. I think what you can kind of get out of those situations, are they reading their blocks? Are they picking the right lanes? Do they know what's being asked of them? Do they understand what's going on around them? You can't take anything from quarterbacks or running backs. Wide receivers a little bit more because you could see what's going on. Are they running the right routes? Are they getting separation from the DBs? Are they afraid to go over the middle? You can kind of pick up a little bit on what's going on. On defense, it's hard too because again, they're just not allowed to go full speed. Now Saturday, I think they're going to go full speed. I don't know how many plays. they're going to run. So we'll find out more on that, I'm sure, that Saturday evening and Sunday, and we'll talk about it on the Hog Talk podcast. I'm really excited about that. Podcast. There's so much to discuss. So moving on, Giovanni LaFrance has also entered the transfer portal. He's the junior. Was he redshirt junior? Is that right? Linebacker that leaves them with, I think, 7 scholarship or 7 linebackers. I don't know about if they're all scholarship or not, but I think they are. But they're down to they're already thin there, and LaFrance is going to look elsewhere. I know some people are like, yeah, bye, see you, hit the road, trimming the fat, that sort of stuff. Maybe that is the case. LaFrance was competing to start, and when you got someone like that who's sayonara, who's out, that kind of goes along with that injury they sustained along the offensive line last week. Not good. An area you're already thin at, and now he's going to leave. It's unfortunate. I really thought he was going to produce, or at least I thought we were going to get something out of him, some production, and we're not. And it's unfortunate he's going to leave. I don't know what they do there. There's rumors they're going to move some DBs around. They're going to move a safety down, which Arkansas has done time and time again, and we've seen how that works out. Sometimes it does. Most of the time it doesn't. So I should have said that according to the defense interviews, they have said that 3 picks throughout the week on John Stephen Jones. Okay. Justin Potts says, hot take, I think Treylon has a better year than Knox. That's tough to say, isn't it? All these receivers are doing so good. Even TQ Jackson supposedly had a couple of really nice catches. Everybody is showing out, and that's a good thing, man. And I know some of it probably is coach speak. Some of it is probably hype. This is what you do. This is the typical kind of rhetoric that you hear this time of year. And this is why we all get so excited that, football's around the corner, and then we get kind of fed this stuff. And it's like, oh my God, we're going to be so much better than we actually are. Then reality sets in. But it is good to hear. It is good to hear that they're at least, I will say comparatively, the staff knows what they're in for. They didn't last year. And that's one of the reasons I think they went 2-10. The staff just had no idea what they were in for. Now they know, and they're getting it going. Flamingo Friday shirt. Yeah, representing, baby. That's right. Pink Flamingo shirt. Any chance of getting a 5-star in the 2020 class from what you've seen? We know that ratings change all the time. We'll see. I haven't even began. Honestly, that's a good question for Jacob Scott Davis. He's been covering a lot more of the recruiting, of the prospects. I'm going to say right now, probably not. 2021, that might be another conversation to have. That's actually where that's his expertise. Jacob's been talking to some 2021 prospects, some in-state, and I think he's talked to a couple of guys out of state. 2021 will be interesting to see what they do. I think that's going to be a better class comparatively to the 2019 or the 2020 class. But no, I don't think so right now. It doesn't look like it will. We will have to win a lot of games to get a 5-star. Well, you're going to definitely have to Going to have to improve. You're going to have to show that you got a better product on the field. We're coming up on 45 minutes. Let me see if we've got everything. We talked about the guys showing out in practice. We talked about Giovanni LaFrance. I think we got everything. We talked about Enoch Jackson and Marcus Miller and those guys in their Bloody Alley. Those video clips that we've seen online. There is a little bit of basketball news. Apparently, Kenny Chandler, 4-star point guard, 6'1", 165 pounds, is in town. I don't know. It sounds like it's down between, I think, KU, Memphis. He's got a host of offers. He's a baller. But I guess he's on an official visit. I'm not really sure. That was just texted to me literally right as we started recording. So I don't know enough about that. But I know he's a 4-star. And I know he's a point guard. So there's that. Kendall isn't on scholarship. No, he is not. No 5-star 2021 Jackson from Texarkana. Is he officially a 5-star? I thought he was still a 4-star according to 24/7. But he is, he's out of Texarkana. Big defensive end. Could be pretty special. I don't know that Arkansas gets him or not, though. So let me know if you guys have any more questions or anything. We will, again, like I said, we're going to record our podcast Sunday night. We have someone on from Hooten's magazine. I don't remember who. I had the name here. We've got someone on from Hooten's, and that'll be cool. That'll be exciting. That'll be wonderful to sit down and talk to him a little high school football. I was trying to look for the writers. If I could find his name, I'd be like, oh, that's him. And it's not in here. But we're going to talk We're going to talk with Hooten's magazines. Put it that way. So we're going to talk a little bit about the in-state prospects. We really want to get into the 2021 class and what they think. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit us up on social media. Again, that's on Twitter. You can hit me up at Tyzilla83, Hog Talk Podcast, wherever. Getting more text messages as I'm recording or as I'm talking here. Let's see. The other thing we're going to talk about, too, was the Dabo Swinney comment on Kelly Bryant and whether or not why he didn't get a ring and how everyone felt about that. That will be something we talk about on Sunday evening. That's going to be a fun conversation to have. We'll just leave it at that for right now. With all due respect, if you are a junior and running with the 4th team, you obviously haven't grasped the system and you don't have the ability. If you're talking about LaFrance, no, he was running with the 1s and 2s, and I think he was kind of moved around. It looked like he was going to play. I don't know about start, but it sounded like he was going to at least get some production this year. I don't think he was actually a 4th stringer necessarily, but then again, we don't know. It's too early in fall camp. That may have been cancerous to the locker room down the line in reference to Giovanni LaFrance. It might have been. That could have been the case. I've not ever heard that. I've not ever heard that they have any problems right now. Last year's a different story. We've been told quite a bit about what happened last year and some of the stuff actually in prior years, too, to people that we've talked to. So far, we've not heard that. I've not been told that. Maybe that's the case. There's a lot of things that we won't find out until later on. Will any of the practices be open to the media next week? As far as I know, no. I don't know. Like they do this thing where they allow them to watch how they did it last year. They allow them to watch like 30 minutes of practice, and then it goes closed. Funny story. My dad actually went down to the stadium, and I don't know how, but somehow he managed to kind of sneak on to not sneak, but he found a way to check out the field through the stadium. I'm not really sure. He was talking to me really fast, and he was excited, but he got thrown out. So they're upping security around campus. So I don't think. And I guess they're being that much more strict with people. I don't know about the media. So Tanya Henry says, hey, how's it going, Tanya? Hope all's well. That's it, guys. We went 50 minutes. I think that's pretty good. Well, actually, really, you subtract about 6 minutes. So we haven't gone quite 50 minutes. But thank you guys so much for stopping by. I like doing these live streams. I try to do them once a week. And we're going to continue to try to do that leading up to maybe even all through season. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it's going to depend on my schedule. But, yeah, thanks for stopping by. And like, comment, share the content, all that stuff. For those of you who are watching later on, feel free to comment. And for those of you who came through and commented, I appreciate it. Do you think we're the most improved team? I mean, if we'll see. I don't know. Like, I don't really know yet. I don't know. I'm liking what I'm hearing from the staff, Tanya. I am. I'm really liking what we're hearing. But, again, you have to you have to evaluate how much of that is coach speak and how much of it isn't, right? How much of it is, but we've been kind of told that coaches are trying to restrain themselves a little bit. So I think they're going to be improved. I don't know how much comparatively. I have no idea. It's not that difficult to go from 2 to more wins, right? It's not that difficult to improve based on what they did a year ago, but I think they're going to be really improved. I just to what degree, I'm not entirely sure yet, but I'm about 90% to where I believe. I've got their win-loss record in my head. I've got it there, but I'm just going to wait until we get a better idea of what's going through, what is stable, what's consistent through fall camp, and is it good or bad? Is it good that we're rotating out quarterbacks or not? That was kind of the belief last year. Remember that? We were all like, yeah, just competition at the quarterback spot. All right, I love it. Didn't really turn out too well. That was actually a sign of things that were bad. Those are bad things. So we don't want those. We want consistency. We want someone to separate themselves from the rest of the pack. If that happens and it stays consistent from the rest of next week on through the rest of fall camp, getting ready for Portland State, that might sway me a little bit. I'm just glad Bert is gone, says Timothy. Oh, Bert. Jeremiah says 8 I don't know, but bananas with Joe Adams and Little Rock this weekend. Oh, okay, cool. Tell them we said hi. I don't know what you're saying there. I don't know what that is. Bananas. Don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Thanks for clearing that up. I love these live shows, Ty. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate you stopping by, man. Tiny says, "Where's the video where you think our record's going to be?" So that comes again. That'll come the week before. That'll come the week before, or that final week of fall camp, getting ready for Portland State. More than likely, I've already kind of hinted at what I think they do. I think it's not gonna shock anybody, but it might upset a few. My record last year made some people mad. And it turns out we were all wrong. So, do you think you're going to be at any of the games? Yeah, I'm going to try. I'm trying to cover the game the best of my ability, and sometimes being able to watch it at home is actually better, on top of trying to manage our Hog Talk podcast, social media, trying to manage everything. I think we're going to be in Ozark, Arkansas. If any one of you are near Ozark, Arkansas, we're going to be at Ox Brewery, I think it's called. I'm sorry. I had it up here just a second ago, but we're going to be there. We're going to be taking part of a live show. And if you guys are near there, let me pull up the actual name of the place really quick. I had it. Ox Bend Brewing in Ozark, Arkansas. It's going to be September 13th at 6:30. So if you guys are near the area, feel free. So that we're going to try to do more of these live shows, and we're going to try to interact more with people. So going to games we don't have press passes yet. We're working on that. Been working on that. I have anyways, but now that the Hog Talk podcast has been blowing up, it might be a little easier. I don't know. But so yeah, we're going to be in Ozark. So if you're near there, if you're not too far from Ozark, feel free to stop by at the brewery. Again, that's going to be September. I just had it. September. What did I say? September something. September, was it 13th, 16th? God, where'd it go? But again, apparently it's everyone down in Ozark, pretty tight community down there, and they're pretty excited about it. Our producer actually lives there. Peck actually lives down in Ozark. So yeah, September 13th this year, not next year, obviously, at 6:30. Ox Bend Brewing. Yeah. So hopefully if you're down around there. Let's see, almost game time, 6-6. Timothy says 6-6. Occasional gamer. What's going on, occasional gamer? How you doing? We better get a bowl game this year because next year's schedule looks brutal. It does, doesn't it? That was the other thing we hadn't discussed at all, really, was the schedule. Really quick, we'll go over it really fast, and that'll end it. That will put us close to an hour. So September 5th, you got Kent State. September 12th, you're at Notre Dame. September 19th, you're at home against Mississippi State. Or no, you're on the road. I'm sorry. You're on the road against Mississippi State. September 19th, not at the end of the year like we're so used to playing them. Then September 26th, you got A&M. Then October 3rd, you've got a FCS school, CSU. You're going to be, and that's obviously at home. And the A&M game, I think, technically is going to be an away game, which we already know where that's at. Alabama's going to be at home October 10th. October 17th, you're at home against LSU. Tennessee, you're at home on October 31st. I just do not buy into Tennessee at all. Like, they're one of the most underachieving programs I've ever seen between them and Auburn off and on. But November 7th, now Tennessee's no Auburn, but there's anytime you got Tennessee. Last time they were in Fayetteville, I think that's when game day was here and Darren McFadden went crazy on them? Was that the last time they played Tennessee at home, or am I crazy? But again, that's October 31st. November 7th is going to be on the road against Auburn. Ole Miss is going to be home November 14th. November 21st, you're going to play Louisiana Monroe. You remember how angry you were? I know I was when Arkansas lost to Louisiana Monroe down in Little Rock. And then November 28th, you're on the road against Mizzou. That's your schedule. There it is. If you haven't seen it. Ooh. So I like that layout. That's actually pretty cool. There's your schedule. So if you haven't seen it, again, if you want to actually see it, I posted it somewhere here on YouTube. So, all right. Let me try and finish. Wherever you go, you should post on Instagram that you're going. Yeah, no, we are. We're on Instagram. I'm not active on Instagram at all. I have no control over that account. That's all Jacob. Ozark is crazy. Hog fans, great place. I hear that a lot about Ozark, actually. Tanya says, I go to like every home game. So, cool. Good for you, Tanya. Timothy, I will be at the Notre Dame game. Good for you, man. I've always wanted to go there. I've always wanted to check that place out. A lot of history. College football history there. I'd love to check out Notre Dame, check out their campus. I'm not Catholic, but it'd be really fun, right? I mean, for any college football fan, you don't have to be a Catholic to enjoy the scenery there. All right, that's going to do it. Thanks a lot, guys. We went almost an hour. Did not expect that, but hey, thank you guys. And share the URL, copy and paste it somewhere, and yeah, have a good rest of your weekend. Go Hogs.